Hey everyone, how's it going out there? So I've had a lot of stuff come in over the past few weeks because it's been a few weeks since I've been able to come on here, and that's because it's been heavily an integration period. And that's what they keep telling me. We're integrating right now. We're taking those lessons. We are implementing them into our actual 3D reality. So I'm going to read a couple of the downloads that I've got over the past few weeks, and then I'm going to kind of just flow and see what Spirit has to say. But it'll be good to just start with this because that is the main message that I think that Spirit wants to get across. And I actually received a title for this video maybe last week or the week before, and I've just kind of been sitting on it because it hasn't felt like it's time. Like for me, like I know when it's time to make a video. And when it's not, it's like everything in me is just not feeling it, right? So I know when my higher self is coming through, and I don't force it. I don't force it for the sakes of building my channel or anything like that, because I trust in the divine that whoever's meant to see these messages or come into this space is meant to and will find it in some way or another. I don't have to try to worry about an algorithm or putting out posts every day. Like that's not how the universe works. That's a very 3D way of looking at it. And sometimes it's hard because we want to get into our mission and we want to do things in the way that we've always done them in the 3D, because that's how we were raised. That's how we were taught. Like you put in this work and effort, and this is what happens if you do that. And it's not that there's no work and effort. Absolutely, there's work and effort, but it doesn't feel like efforting. It doesn't feel like work because you just do it when you feel intuitively guided to do so. You feel intuitively guided to information or to do XYZ. And usually when we force mission, so like say for example, somebody felt like they wanted to start some healing type of business. And so they're doing all the things that they think they should do. Keyword on think. Usually if we're thinking, that's coming from ego, because when it comes from your intuition and higher self, it's so almost effortless. It's like you know what to do and you just do it. You follow each breadcrumb one at a time. You just take those steps and you're present in the moment. So the information comes when you're ready to receive it. And it's like, can you get out of your own way? Can you get out of your own head? And it just doesn't have to do with just business. It's just in life in general. Can we just surrender to spirit and say, I don't have to figure anything out. It's already figured out. All I have to do is get in alignment with my highest self so I'm able to receive those messages and then run with them, really. So, all right, here's what I was getting. And I got this one sentence and then I got this other sentence and they were like weeks apart. And I was like, oh my gosh, this completely aligns. I forgot I even got that download. That's why it's good to write everything down if you feel like it's important. If something just comes to you and you feel like it's important from spirit, it's like an epiphany, aha moment, just like write it down because you don't always remember. But when it's time to come back to it, then spirit can lead you back to that message. So yeah. You put a lot of the big lessons behind you. Now it's time to integrate it. Go live it. Apply the knowledge. We are being given life experiences to see how we will apply what we've learned. So that's what I've been experiencing over the last few weeks is I'm like, it's weird because usually I'm used to being very connected to my feminine energy, being in my own space, somewhat isolated and just with spirit all day long, just like Spirit's my best friend and we're hanging out and we're just doing what we do. But now when you go into these integration periods, like the universe is really asking you to take everything that you've learned and apply it. So in order to apply it, you're forced to go experience the 3D reality and get out into the matrix and like work as the alchemist that you are. So for me, it's like I will be brought new people. I will have incidences come up like at work or with my kids or with my vehicle breaking down, like whatever it is, things are coming up. And it's like, how can I really come from this higher space of being connected to spirit in terms of how I'm responding to these situations, right? And oh my gosh, like I have been tested. It's like one test after another test after another test. And it's all different kinds of stuff. money stuff, relationship stuff, parenting stuff, just all sorts of things, right? Just like the contrast that is actually the gift in order to grow. It's like I'm being given all these gifts. Doesn't feel like a gift in the moment, but it is. And it's feeling, when I'm in it, I'll be honest, it does not feel like a gift. And sometimes I can get really deep in it. So it's like, like I can't find that perspective that I want to find, because the feelings in my body are just like taking over anything that I know that what this is, right? So I'm like, just say I'm in a situation and it's just like, my mind will not shut off about it because it's bothering me that much. It's giving me anxiety or worry or whatever it is. And it's like, deep down, I know to respond to it differently, but it's like, I can't. My emotions won't let me. And that's when I know I really need to be in my own space, taking salt baths, just in nature, like doing the things that fill my cup as an individual, and not giving too much on those days, or like just knowing when to give myself a break so I can get back in alignment and be able to see whatever it is from a different perspective. Because if I'm sitting there in ego and just trying to solve the problem desperately in my head, or I'm just so worried about it and it feels so far out of my control, and I'm just stewing in my own brain, like if I do that, and I feel like I just can't get out of it, I have to get into a space of self-care, like immediately. And only you know what that is for you, right? So I'm a feeler. So for me, it's definitely like, it's almost like when you do a cold plunge and you just shock your body out of whatever trauma response that you're in. And you almost like get it back to this neutral space. So then you can have a chance to try to like reboot from a different perspective, from a different way of looking at the problem, from whatever it is. And sometimes it'll take me 1 or 2 days to just like get back to that space. So I'll be stewing in it for that long and it feels like eternity, but it's really, in hindsight, it just goes by like that. And you get used to these super high highs and the super low lows, and like learning how to bring yourself to make the lows not so low, because you already know what this is, right? This isn't your first rodeo, but sometimes it is. Like sometimes like we've learned so many lessons. Okay, we're bringing in new lessons. So we're having that ability to know like, okay, well, the way I'm feeling right now isn't it, right? So how am I gonna like ask myself a lot of questions about where these feelings and emotions are coming from, and break down the situation. It could be lack mentality. It could be abandonment issues. It could be, just anything. Whatever it is for you based off of your own trauma. And the more you get to intimately know yourself, the easier it is to ride through these waves. And what I've noticed is it doesn't matter how many levels you've gotten through, how many lessons you've learned, how far you've ascended, there will always be more. There will always be more, and it actually isn't as bad because the way time is working now, it's really easy to be like, okay, that's done and over. I'm never thinking about it again. It's weird. You feel so worked up about something. You get through it. You get on the other side of it. You get back into your normal high vibrational space, and you don't even think about it now because it's not even the same energetic field that you're in. So that's what's been happening. It's just like, when you get in those low lows, don't drown in them, try to keep your head above water and take care of yourself, so then you can get into this neutral space to bring yourself back up into the space of who you are. It's not that you're not, like, those dark things are still like a part of you, and it's why you came in here into this avatar, to try to transmute that for like bloodlines behind you. Why do you think, like, for me, like, I grew up seeing my mom being domestically abused, and then I said that would never happen to me, but it did, because it's in these bloodlines that we choose to come into. So the avatar you choose matters. It's your ancestors. You're healing everything for everyone. And you are able to either transmute it or pass it down to your offspring. And it's just going to keep going. Even if you don't have kids, it's in that bloodline. Do you want to step up and do something about it, right? And when we look at life in that way and we stop looking at like our job and getting so distracted by school or all these stupid obligations that were just created in this matrix reality that's not even, it's a low vibrational reality that was created by and carried on by us and mutated in different ways over time. But are we honoring that reality, or are we really getting in touch with ourselves and creating our own reality and teaching ourselves to come from a different space, really come from a different energetic space? And like, yeah, you're gonna dip down into those low spaces so you're able to work through the issues that you need to transmute for yourself and your ancestors. But now you know what you're doing. Now you know why you're here. And now you can handle business. Does it feel like crazy going through it? Yes, but when you're on the other side of it, you understand why. And you're like, dang, I feel like grateful. I feel grateful that I've actually remember. And I'm actually able to consciously heal and know what it means and know what it's for. And then be able to just really bask in gratitude. That's how it feels for me. It's like, this is my service, just living my life and learning these lessons and expanding and being able to walk a different path than the one before me and to heal those wounds that the people before me weren't able to heal, and just emanate your light, right? So there was more that came through that I'm going to read right now. And I'm just going to kind of see where spirit wants to take it. Cause to me, it could be taken a million different directions, but I wrote this weeks ago, but now it's applying in different ways in my life now. And I'm like, whoa, sometimes when I receive something, I'm not really sure what spirit wants to do with it. And I kind of sit on it and it comes back later. It kind of like, and it wasn't from the angle you initially thought. It kind of like blows your mind a little. So anyways, I'm going to share it and then see what spirit wants to come through from there. So this is kind of relationship related. And so when we get into these integration periods, like we're going to come into new experiences in relationships, and that's all types of relationships, not just romantic relationships. So like, yeah, spirit this came through from spirit. Okay. Never be afraid to love harder. Don't hold back. And of course, this is in my language. So this is what I'm receiving from spirit, but it's being translated through the avatar of Kelsey. So this is how I speak, right? Sometimes when I receive downloads, I'm not receiving them word for word verbatim, like I would in automatic writing. Sometimes I'm receiving a thought and then I put the thought on paper through my avatar's personality, I guess you could say. It's really interesting because there's so many different ways to channel information, but intuitively you know what it is as the person who channels it. So sometimes I like to explain it. So when people who have similar gifts that I came in with, like my predominant gifts, like we have all the gifts, right? But some of them we're more dominant in. So if other people are also dominant in those same abilities, I like to explain how things come in, because sometimes you don't realize what it is at first or how it works. And it's just like, really, expansion is seeing it from more angles. So you'll be able to interpret it for yourself. Okay, so never be afraid to love harder. Don't hold back. Fuck the risk. Take it. Milk every moment. If they can't meet you there, that's okay. They got a taste of what vulnerability and high levels of love feel like. You don't have to take it personally because you understand that's just where they're at. Has absolutely nothing to do with you. So you are a catalyst, okay? If you're in here and you're a light worker, you're a catalyst. So what I came to realize in every single time I form a new relationship or bond with another individual is that I'm catalyzing them. And sometimes I can create, when your light shines bright, it shows other people their darkness, right? So you're the mirror and they're your mirror. That was another download. Before I go on with that, I want to mention was that I was like, it's hard for me, like in terms of moving on a relationship, because I'm like, most people will look at me like I'm crazy because of everything that I talk about, like the way I live my life, it's just so weird and just like not how everyone else does. And I take it to another level, like just in my personal, like in my home, just like in general, because that's who I am. Like I'm just hanging out with spirit all day and like my house reflects that and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And just like a lot of that I suppress if I go out in the matrix, which I probably shouldn't in hindsight. But anyways, I would say to spirit, like, what can these, shouldn't I be with someone who, or hang out and have friends with people who are on the same level as me intellectually and can understand my language? And when I want to talk about something, they know, they've heard of it, like, or whatever, you know? And spirit immediately was snapped back and was like, they're giving you everything all the time, and you just aren't even realizing it by saying that, because sometimes people will say something and all of a sudden you'll get this epiphany, right? You'll get a download, but you never would have got that if their mind wasn't working in this space to trigger that from you. So even if somebody isn't like, it's so egoic for me to say that. And I didn't mean it in like a, I'm better than you way, but it was more like a, I want somebody to be able to teach me something too. I'm teaching them something. They can teach me something. But spirit was like, they're teaching you so much. Like they're unconscious of it. And you're unconscious of it because you didn't realize. Now I'm conscious of it because I had that conversation. Like a lot of times when things come through to me, it's because I'm literally, and I didn't always do this. This is very in the last year recent. When I talk to spirit, I just say it out loud. I'll just be like doing stuff around the house and I will be literally talking out loud. And then the response will come back through me. Like I'll ask a question, is there. Right? So it's like I'm developing this closer, more intimate relationship with spirit. But anyways, I go off on so many tangents, but you know what? I trust that that is for a reason too, because whatever information comes through is what needs to come through. So what I'm speaking on basically is you're a catalyst. So we're going to bring up stuff in each other. And even if you think that person isn't on your level in a spiritual space, they are. They're in your space. And even if it's like you're not seeing them in the physical, but you're communicating, they're still in your energetic space, and they're there for a reason, to give you a gift, to trigger things in you, to be your mirror too, right? And when you're coming through these, we're all going through this integration right now. So when you're coming into all these situations, go hard and be you. That's what spirit was saying. Like, just love hard, because guess what? They're not always going to be able to meet you where you're at, and that's okay. That's not how it's meant to be, right? And it's like, especially if you're like someone with like abandonment issues and you go hard and like everything's good, and then boom, like that person can't hold that frequency anymore. Like they could only stay there with you for so long, and now they're going through their own stuff. And how can you not take that personally and realize you just gave them a gift, and they gave you a gift too, because they pulled away because they couldn't deal with it. But that was really for you because you have abandonment issues, right? Or you have whatever it is, the issue where you get triggered if someone pulls away from you. So then what? That's for you. That's your gift. You see it now? So integration is interesting. I think it's harder for me to make videos while I'm integrating because I'm so, like, I'm in that space. I'm in that world. I'm in that realm. And when you're learning lessons, like, that's not when you get the epiphanies, but that's not when, like, after everything happens and the dust settles, then everything makes sense. It's like all the little epiphanies and the pieces of the puzzle, they came together. And now you have this big, like, initiation almost. And I do believe that integration is going to be, it's going to be a little bit of a longer process, because we just like got hit hard in 2023 with all of these lessons. So it's now we're on the other side of it. Like it felt like it was just like, okay, finally let go of a lot of the big stuff, you know. But now you got to go out there and see what's new, what's next. And you have to be present though. You can't predict the future. You can't try to create this safety zone for yourself that you can just waltz into. You can't know, basically. You can't know what's coming next. And you got to be okay with that. And you can't go into panic mode or grab for something externally, like, I don't know, like your parents to help you, or a relationship to make you feel secure, or what, a job that you think is going to be there forever, but it's not. You know, you really got to be present. And if you keep doing those things in these heightened energies, it's going to be so hard. I am grateful that I learned a lot of the lessons earlier, and I've been in this for many years now, so I can handle right now better. And I'm sorry for anyone who's new. Like, I don't think a lot of people on my channel are new, because I don't have the time to really put myself out there, because I'm busy, doing what I got to do, whatever the universe calls me to do. But yeah, it just feels like I'm grateful that I can kind of ride through it a little bit better. But that's what us light workers are here to do. Like, we've been doing this for a while. We're here to be the light. People are going to start asking you questions. People are going to start like recognizing the light in you, and recognizing like something's got to change in their life, right? And that's why you're the front runner. You're the one to lead the way. That's who I really believe collectively is on my channel. And I feel like it's interesting because, I see people that I've done even interviews with, and they have like 250,000 subscribers, blah, blah, blah. And they start out where I was, and now they're already grown to that much. But it's like, for me, I know if that was meant for me, it would be happening. And I'm okay with that, because it's not about the amount of people that, it's not quantity, it's the quality. So for me, if I have this collective group of light workers that I connect with, and I kind of align with them in this way, and those are just my people, like Jesus and his disciples or whatever. And trust me, I'm not calling myself Jesus. I feel like we're all like, I'm just one of you and you're one of me, right? We're all just out here doing the same thing. I'm just doing it in my own way. But moral of the story is like, when we can connect and we can really grow together, like one person can do so much. So even if there's a few hundred people will watch my videos, like, wow, like that's a lot of people that we as a collective could impact, right? So that's the vibe and the energy that I come from. Like, if it's gonna be, it's gonna be. It's not gonna be me putting all this effort in and putting as much content out as I can. It's not even about that. Like, and I don't even want to be in that energy, because I feel like a lot of people who get caught in that energy, and it comes from and I'm not saying all people with lots of followers are that's some people with lots of followers, like that was what was meant to be, but some people, it's just like coming from a place of ego. They feel like it feeds like their self-worth in order to get as many as you can. It's that competition. That's that, the Matrix teaches that in us. And I used to be that grind, and don't stop. Because that's how you're going to make it happen. Because it's not it though. It really is about connecting to spirit. So there's just been like a lot of lessons and everything that have come through. And whatever it is for you, work through that. And now we're having that opportunity to see how much we can really apply, especially if you guys are empaths. Like, boundaries are everything, and don't disrespect yourself by caving to those. Like, keep your boundaries strong, because you're worth it. And you're showing people what you will tolerate, and what you're worth, based off your ability to set healthy boundaries, and always come from a space of just like understanding where the other person is, and understanding where you are. And we don't like, somebody else can take it as personally as they want, but at the end of the day, you get to choose how you want to respond. You get to choose if you want to, see yourself in this integration period and be proud. Dang, I'm proud of how I handled that. Like, I would have handled it differently in my past version of me in this avatar, but this time around, in this period of integration, I just like skated right through it, and I'm proud of myself. And did I feel emotional? Yeah, but I could kind of like sit with it and just let it be. I didn't have to create a whole thing out of it. I could just go take a salt bath and just kind of take it easy for the rest of the day and wake up and hit the reset button and we're good to go, you know? And a lot of times you'll wake up the next day and be like, what the hell was I so worked up about? Like, why couldn't I shut my mind off? Like, today it doesn't feel like it is a big deal at all. It's because you worked through it. You didn't allow it to escalate and snowball into something even more emotional. And when you don't respond and you just kind of be present, you don't send a message to somebody, you don't immediately try to fix some situation, and you just kind of sit and you allow the universe to work it out, you're like, damn, like, okay, I'm just gonna have to sit in these uncomfortable emotions, but it's gonna be good because I'm always taken care of. And it's just like bringing that belief into yourself. And the only way you can do that is to go through hard things and to do it. And that is what integration is. So, yeah, that's what Spirit wanted to come through with today. And